Good morning, Silver.
I am getting really unoriginal. So, this is now 2 conventions where people have just shown up in my room. Just lying there. Why not? Because I locked the door.
That has never stopped me before.
I'm an alicorn. I can teleport.
I'm frustrated. But I just saw a new episode, which makes things a little more palpable. Or palatable. That's the word, palatable.
Because palpable it has to do with touching, and palatable has to do with taste.
There will be no touching!
Okay, already!
Touch. Alrighty. So, I am joined by several members of the fandom, including some new members. We have Lightning Bliss.
I like rainbows.
Yes, indeedy. We have the DrWolf.
Greetings and good evening, everyone.
And Dr. Wolf's brother.
I'm not a Brody! What am I doing here?
You're watching an episode, so there you go. In fact, we have all just witnessed Hearthbreakers. Because you're a heartbreaker, dream taker.
No.
Okay.
Shot through the heart.
She sings better.
Everyone sings better than I. When I sing, an angel whips its wings off.
Ouch. Yes.
Alicorns are immune.
I don't feel safe now.
Because they're not anything but angels.
Thank you.
Oh.
Alright, so the basic premise of Hearthbreakers. We get the apples and the pies together for Hearthwarming Eve before Halloween.
Yes.
Isn't that fun?
Blasphemy.
Well, I mean, all of the retail centers are doing it. Why not?
That's true.
When My Little Pony becomes like Kmart and Target rather than selling at them, we're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh.
Well, it is Hasbro.
Alright, so here are our initial impressions. Ladies first.
Oh, ladies first. I absolutely loved it. There were so many funny moments, like between Applejack and Pinkie Pie, and Maud and Apple Bloom, and we even had you spotted it first, and I couldn't believe it. My jaw dropped. We saw pony characters of Steve Martin and Chubby Chase.
Chubby.
No.
John
Candy.
John Candy.
John Candy.
And
I'm
Steve
like,
Martin. On the train.
on the train. Couldn't believe that. Wow.
I would not have picked out that reference.
No.
I blame my formative years in front of a television.
Woo! That's not really a good thing.
Says you.
I really liked how they took this episode, and I thought, oh, it's going to be really sad, and the apples are going home, and maybe the Maud's pies thought, oh, we're being too hard on them, let's go make it up. No, reverse that. The apples realized, oh, we should have asked them why they do their traditions instead of questioning them, because then we might have understand them better, and then we could have taught them our traditions later, since they're the hosts.
I should have been learning your tradition and teaching mine.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was her line, right?
Pretty much.
Pretty good
something
line.
like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A good impersonation, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I don't really have the feminine voice, but I can do the accent.
We are in Texas, by the way, so technically we should all have southern accents for this.
I find that racist.
That's racist. And if you're going to try and sound like a Texan, you better try very hard, sir.
I will not try at all. I will offend as many people as possible.
Okay, my
Get it done.
my poor ears.
But yeah, overall, I love that. I mean, once again, this episode hit a special feeling for me because I remember tradition can be really hard to stomach in somebody else's home because they might do things completely off scale to what I'm used to. I experienced that when I had Thanksgiving for the first time, not with, Christmas. I had Christmas with my husband's family for the first time in Germany. Our tradition is at home that we open presents Christmas Day, and we get really excited about it. But Christmas Eve, they open presents, and on Christmas Eve, we have a special dinner. We have fried turkey. Christmas Eve for them is roast duck. And so, yeah, that was a whole new ball game for me. But I really respected their traditions, and I even asked them, why do y'all open presents on Christmas Eve? And they say, oh, because we can't wait. Simple as that.
No overarching reason. No, it's just, I can't wait.
Yeah. I could see why there are a lot of elements in this episode that would appeal to you then.
Exactly.
Even Twilight and Spike.
My husband can't wait.
Oh, that's the way he was brought up.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is exactly how he was brought up, and I love it, and I find it cute. I mean, it's funny how he describes me and why he loves me and my personality. He says that I'm like a little girl on Christmas Day when I'm doing a project. I'm having so much fun with it. So, so there you go. My first impressions. I loved it.
Herr Doctor?
I've become air doctor now.
Hair doctor?
Herr Doctor. Air Doctor would mean you'd be monitoring the pollution levels.
Oh, one of those. Okay.
Or
Nice.
Michael Jordan.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it. Yeah. Anyways, I had known about the premise of Hearthbreakers for several weeks before watching the episode, so I was already trying to guess what would happen between the apples and the pies, and trying to figure out the personalities of the pies themselves. Now, seeing the parents start acting Amish, for lack of a better word, no-brainer. That's something that you could really expect. Seeing one sister being overly aggressive and, I don't know, sounding almost like Gilda in some ways.
Yeah.
I wonder if the voice actress for her is the same as Gilda. I didn't
Gilda.
check the credits, but I could almost hear Gilda here and there, and a lot of the mannerisms seem to match here and there, but I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching too far with that. And then Maud, we already know, and yeah,
I like Maud.
Everybody who
Everybody
saw
loves
Maud,
Maud.
everybody who saw Maud is just instantly saying, "Great episode," because Maud is there, because Maud is giving such great lines once again. And then one younger sister who Pinky specifically says was born a few minutes after her.
Twins?
Does that make them twins?
It makes them twins.
Or maybe all four sisters were born at around the same time?
But horses and ponies don't have like big litters. They
I know.
It's rare they have twins.
It's rare
but
for
it is
twins,
possible.
yes.
Yeah,
So-
but it made me wonder, because looking at the Pie sisters when they're young during season 1, they looked pretty close to the same age back then too. I don't know, it's just an idea.
Yeah.
It's hard with this show because basically ages are Billy Colt, adult,
Not really
elderly,
there's not really a teenager stage that we've
Like
seen
me,
in the
Bliss.
show yet.
She's a class all of her own.
You're in a
Anyways,
class by yourself.
it's interesting to think
I'm on
of
the-
Pinkie Pie as a twin, because this new younger sister, I don't remember her name. What was her name?
Limestone?
Marble?
Well, there's
Well, Marble was the mean one.
Marble was the mean
Marble
one?
was the mean one. Maud, Marble, Pinky, and I think it's...
Platinum?
I thought it was Limestone.
I don't know.
Limestone? Not Latin.
She was really quiet. She's Fluttershy 2.0.
Yes.
Yes.
You thought Fluttershy was the shyest you could get? No.
No, this one
Fluttershy
couldn't-
actually uses
She
words.
couldn't even talk.
Well, there's so much to say about that.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Doctor, we're derailing
That's
you.
okay. That's perfectly fine. Let me think. I appreciate the fact that they were in part revisiting the moral that they were figuring out during the original Maud Pie episode in season 4, but they expanded upon it and they made it more of a coherent, understandable moral that people could really get into. Understanding other people's traditions and then teaching them their traditions little bits at a time, instead of just immediately trying to find that common ground and forcing them to like what you like, sort of thing. So I appreciate that aspect. I really do. I also appreciate a lot of the conversations, because the dialogue is very quotable, I have to say.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff.
That was really good.
I remember that when Teric heard that giant boulder was found in a dragon's nest, his eyes lit up immediately. Because he's thinking, wait, is that an actual dragon? Is a dragon going to show up?
And I was disappointed.
Yeah. It turns
It
out
was
it's just,
shaped like an egg.
yeah, but it's a giant egg. Holy
And
cow.
Spike wasn't in a giant egg. And he's a
No,
dragon.
I mean, okay. A real dragon egg weighs about 14, 15 pounds.
Right.
Not like this huge monolith thing, so I was thinking it must be some aberration.
Yeah.
And it just turns out for an egg, the yolk's on you.
Oh, get out, get out, get out.
My room!
I'm sorry. Okay.
I also have to say that the scene where the pies are attempting to push the boulder back out of the quarry And Maud is saying, I'm pushing as hard as I can.
She had no effort.
No, she was. The thing is, she was.
She was.
No, she wasn't, but she was expressing her exertion in a complete monotone.
And you think back to season 4 when she had launched that huge boulder so much further than Rainbow Dash, causing a miniature nuclear explosion with how much effort she put into it.
Well, she's not trying to destroy this boulder, though.
Granted, yes.
And,
Okay.
I can only remember one time where Maud lost that monotone for a second. It was when after she said Pinkie from that boulder, and she says, Pinkie Pie, what were you thinking? And then she goes back to monotone.
There we go.
Yeah.
But, the monotone.
Yes, that works.
Monotone.
We're taking it for granted.
Somebody smack him. Not me.
Elior, have you seen this?
Elior,
Get him!
Elior, stay where you are.
Get him!
No, please, please.
Get him, please.
Okay, well, you're putting out a hit on me. How about you say what you liked about the episode, Seth?
I thought the relationship that we have had has gone through many stages in the last 5 minutes. Where do we stand?
I think everyone wants to kill me, so, par for the course.
Okay. Anyway, I'm going to wax a little more serious here, and I'm going to continue what Bliss was saying. This really made me think about what happens when two families are brought together, specifically when you have two kids getting married. What it does is it brings the traditions, the experiences of two large families together, and many times they collide. I know it did in my case when I got married. There were certain traditions that my wife held and certain traditions that I held, and they didn't always jive well with each other. And so we saw that in this episode. We saw that the apples, they wanted to keep things the way they were used to, and they were just kind of watching their faces as they were trying to choke down that stone soup. It was pretty good. And then of course the pies, when they come out and they see all the decorations and the candy canes and the flag and everything, and they're equally disgusted, which it's supposed to be surprising to us, but then we realize that what they're used to, the traditions that they've carried on for so many years, this is very foreign to them, and so I can see why their reaction would be natural, even though it seems like their traditions are so strange to us. By the same token, you get married and you get into this whole big new family, suddenly you've got all of these pie traditions that just seem so foreign to you. I really like the realization that Applejack finally came to, in that she realized that trying to hold on to your own traditions and push them into the new situation and saying this is the way it's going to be, that really doesn't work. It causes a lot of conflict. And so the conclusion that she came to was that they needed to learn from each other's traditions and then try and teach each other's traditions in a sharing, conversing sort of way instead of trying to force them on each other. I thought, this is adult stuff here, but it's a good lesson to learn.
As we all know, only real adults watch ponies.
What? I didn't say that. No, he did. Never mind.
Yes, and I said the truth, yes. And for myself, I enjoyed this episode. Just so much fun seeing start to finish. One, Ponyville decked out for Hearthwarming. We have not seen that before. A retelling of the Hearthwarming legend done through candies that mysteriously vanish.
What happened to the flag?
Once again, Pinkie Pie's grip over the fourth wall, considers to throttle at her leisure, is wonderful.
How many hooves did she stick out of the screen right there?
Oh, Lord.
19 or 14? I think it was...
With Cranky Matilda, she became an octopony. And now, I don't even know what the term for 19 hooves is. But I did love Applejack's face in that scene. I will criticize that we're talking about accepting other families and learning not to push your traditions, which Applejack learned. And she is a great pony to learn this lesson given her stubborn history. But everything that on the first night was according to the Pie family's traditions. They didn't put as much effort into even trying to accept Applejack's tradition. She pushed too hard. She snuck out in the middle of the night and redecorated their house. That's crossing a social boundary.
Yeah.
Party foul.
Party foul, definitely
Very.
party foul. But at the same time, they demonstrated a far greater inflexibility, kind of like a rock. I'm glad that
wow.
they came together at the end. I'm glad everybody learned, but if people might be tempted to say, "Oh, this was all on Applejack," I think it was a flaw in both families. Applejack simultaneously showed the worst and brought together the best.
Yeah.
Which is why she's my
Yes.
second fave, but Pinky, oh, such a dear. However, I am sad. For you see, I am a Fluttermack shipper. And this episode may douse that ideal for something so cute.
Well, here's an idea. Maybe they wanted to introduce another pony that is very similar to Fluttershy and still make that happen in a way and yet not in a way.
Yeah.
Anyway, really what's fascinating about this is the first time Big Macintosh has ever reacted with shyness towards a mare, implying that maybe he's attracted, but being a shy, quiet guy, he's not sure how to express those feelings.
Well, I mean, we saw it in when he was under the effects of the love potion with Miss Charlie, but that's not really his choice. He was kind of under other influence. This is the first time where Mac has reacted like that, just on his own.
It was a genuine, sincere, and kind of plays off Brotherhood Social in that Big Mac doesn't believe. Well, I'm not sure why, but he's not a fan of expressing his feelings. He thinks that's not how he's supposed to behave, which is actually a very stereotypical view of how guys are supposed to behave.
Yeah, my father was like that. He believed emotions are to be kept to yourself, actions speak louder.
Actions speak louder, which I'm going on a tangent to Brother Social. He showed his affection by barreling through legions of ponies to help his sister.
And running over the competition.
Literally.
So if he wanted to express his feelings to a mare he's attracted to, how would he do it? Would he compete in a contest, try and do work around the rock farm? It is an interesting question to ask. But I'm pretty sure that the Fluttermack and Chiramac shippers, along with the millions of other shippers, because Big Mac for a time was the only game in town, they're probably going, "No, my headcanon!"
They looked like friends from the start, and they were never going to be anything serious. I thought it was cute that they were just adult friends from the start. Anyway, they enforced it to the love potion thing was just.
We're talking about Shirley.
Shirley, yes.
Yeah, Shirley.
Okay, I wasn't sure, but
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, but I mean, speaking of being forced, I mean, there was the point where Pinky, she was kind of choosing teams for everybody, and she just kind of shoop, there you are together, and they're like, whoa!
Pinkie Pie the matchmaker. But matchmaking. The choosing stone?
Yeah.
Choosing stone.
That is an interesting
Yes.
The entire Pie family is based on a rock saying you two need to be in love.
Yeah.
Now, here's Cadence off to the side going, "That's my job!"
So wait, so you're saying Cadence is a stone now?
She's a stoner.
Oh, gosh. Okay, that would explain a lot of things.
I just went there, but not for the child.
You went there.
I went there, not for the child, though. But no, I'm curious. I'm curious if this rock is magical. I don't know if it's a tradition. I don't know if it's something unique to that region. It would be kind of fascinating if Cadence had some sort of affinity, like it was a miniature crystal heart. Maybe specialized in love.
I'm just getting my own little theory.
As far as we know, all they do is just gather a bunch of ponies around a great big rock, and then they chip it with a pick and see where the rock falls. Okay, there's your partner.
That might be the way it goes.
Wow.
Okay.
And it's a fascinating idea. I'm sure people will be speculating on it for a while. That little nugget of history. Plus, romance does not come up a lot in this show, so we have Cadence Shiny Armor, a couple who met, fell in love, and married. We have Pinkie Pie's parents, a couple who were basically an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Cake.
Mr. and Mrs. Cake.
Okay. I think it was you. I watched your video on Mr. and Mrs. Cake talking about a well-established family relationship. We can just go back to that one and talk about how healthy the relationship of the Cakes is.
They are very well balanced, it seems. But then again, the Pies have a love. There's no question that there's a love in that family. they express it very bizarrely because they have got, let's see here, incredibly shy, incredibly aggressive, incredibly, and Pinkie Pie, who's just incredible.
Such a dynamic in that family. It makes you wonder how that all developed.
See, we're actually more invested in the pies after this episode, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're intrigued.
But I'm still curious about, and they probably will never touch on it, but I'm still curious about what happened to the Apple's parents. Where's Applejack's mom and dad? Yeah.
See,
Your thoughts, Doctor?
I am waiting for more stories to develop the Pie family because Maud Pie pretty much came out of nowhere during season 4, and she became a fan favorite very quickly. And I can see the Pies themselves getting enough notice in the fandom to encourage the writers to bring us more stories, because I'd like to see more stories with these characters, and I'd like to see more interaction between these characters. It works. For only meeting these characters for practically the first time, Maud being the only exception, I want to see more. And I think that's a very good sign right off the bat.
The secondary characters increase our interest in the show.
Mm-hmm.
World building!
World building!
KP will be pleased.
Show us the Love Rock.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so I think we've all covered some of the big events in the episode.
Yeah.
So any closing thoughts?
Loved it and look forward to seeing more, because I feel like they just keep expanding with each episode.
Yeah. A comment that you stated earlier, I have to wonder whether the episodes were supposed to start in October instead of September, and this would have put Hearthbreakers in November. But then they changed it because then they realized, what if we put the Cutie Mark Crusader episode exactly 5 years from... And that kind of threw everything else a little out of whack. But...
it was worth it.
Again... it was worth it
to
do it exactly 5 years after the very first episode. But that might explain a couple things about why we're having these seasonal episodes a little bit out of order.
Off kilter.
Yeah. But then again, I like the fact that you stated that, Walmart and Target are doing it, so... It's true!
I have noticed, for a show that started out as something that is supposed to be for young girls... the show is taking on more and more, at least it seems to me, it seems to be taking on more and more adult issues and handling them well. The mix of the two families, or we go back to Tanks for the Memories, where they really handled the concept of death really well. And we see a lot of these themes being woven into the show, and yet it's still fun, it still appeals to this younger audience. My hat's off to you. Oh, wait. It's already off, sorry.
The metaphorical hat.
Yes.
And like I say, it's hard to cover what hasn't already been said. Just a fun episode, perhaps a little unbalanced in presentation at the height of the conflict, but only a minor note in what is a fun look at family dynamics, tradition, and possibly building a future. So I can find no fault in the Pie family except the one on their property.
Oh.
And on that groan, I think we will wish you all a fun week. This will be closing out. Happy Halloween in advance.
Considering that this was a meeting of the apples and the pies, where do you think is a good spot to end this video?
And this is why jump cuts are awesome.
I like pie.
Hi.
And on this delicious note, as I am surrounded by 3 invaders to my privacy, I'm Silver-Quill. Thanks for watching.